Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariane. I am a luxury travel advisor based in Vancouver, Canada. And I just returned from a 2.5 week trip to Thailand with the Thailand Tourism Authority of Canada in sponsorship also with Singapore Airlines. So I'm really excited to kick off this Thailand series and with this video because I think it's going to make more sense, starting off with the current travel requirements to travel to Thailand and kind of my experience that I had with the Thailand Pass and obviously the Morchana app. So let's get right into it. So right now, to travel to Thailand, you do need to apply for the Thailand Pass. I did want to preface this video and just say that this was just my personal experience entering Thailand and that things are changing very quickly. So please be sure to check the Thailand requirements as things are changing every 2 weeks. So Thailand is a country that they are revisiting their travel restrictions on a 2-week rotation. So again, this was just my experience arriving into Thailand on March 3rd. So please keep that in mind. Already there are some travel restrictions that have changed. So I just wanted to preface this and say that please be sure to double check the travel requirements for you and your country. I am Canadian, so things could differ from my country to possibly your entry requirements in the country that you are traveling from. So that is my disclaimer. And let's get into the travel pass. So these were the current rules as of February 21st for entry from March 1st, 2022 onwards that I experienced with the Thailand Pass. So first and foremost, you do need to be fully vaccinated, and the information on vaccines are available on the Thailand Tourism website. Also, required documents for the Thailand Pass required are your passport, your certificate of vaccination, your paid Shaw Extra Plus hotel booking, including the fee for the PCR test on arrival, and also your private airport transfer from the airport to your hotel. You also need to have insurance proof with a minimum coverage of 20,000 USD for medical expenses. So these are the required documents you need to actually apply for the Thailand Pass, and the Thailand Pass does take a processing time of at least 3 to 7 business days. If you did have more questions about the Thailand Pass, you can always contact the Department of Consular Affairs for Thailand. Their information obviously is at the bottom of the PDF that I'm showing on the screen. So once I received my Thailand Pass, along with all the other documents I had in order, it was then time to enter Thailand. So entry right now to Thailand, I personally landed with my group in Phuket from Singapore. We disembarked the plane. We were then sat in seats where our Thailand Pass was checked, our PCR test on arrival, also our paid PCR test, and our passports. We had to have those 3 documents ready to show the first checkpoint. Then once our documents were checked while we were seated, we were then allowed to go to the first checkpoint where the Health Authority of Thailand did take our PCR test and basically kind of stamped our Thailand immigration form that they had seen our PCR test for arrival to Thailand. Now this has changed as of April 1st. Fully vaccinated travelers will not need to have a PCR test prior to arrival to Thailand. However, you will still need to have the PCR test on arrival and also the day 5-6 antigen test that is self-administered. Once we were all checked in with the Health Authority of Thailand, we were then allowed to go through immigration. Again, that was a very quick and easy process. And once down past immigration, you pick up your luggage and you head outside. At this point, you then have your confirmation of your PCR test on arrival in Phuket or wherever you are landing that you have paid for. And then they also require which hotel that you are staying at. So your confirmation, your receipt of the hotel that you are staying at for your first day. Then once registered, the registration process was very quick. I received my quick little print off that I took to go get my PCR test. At that registration, I was given my, they call it an ATK, which is your self-administered antigen test kit, and then you're shuffled outside. You go and take your PCR test right outside at a mobile PCR testing unit, and then you are slapped with a sticker that says that you've been tested and you are ready to go and meet your transfer for your hotel. So again, with the current rules with the Thailand Pass, and when I was there, we did have to have obviously your PCR test paid for in advance, your hotel, your Shop Plus hotel, and also your private transfer arranged. So once I arrived at the Racha, which you guys will see in a upcoming episode, we did have to self-quarantine until we received our negative PCR test results. So our flight from Singapore to Phuket landed in Phuket around 10:30 in the morning. So by the time we were tested and set free from the airport, I'm gonna say it was around 12 o'clock, probably just before then, maybe 11:30. But I didn't receive my results until 6:30 that night. So you are also required to stay in your hotel room until you receive your PCR test results, which was totally fine by me because I did have a pool villa. As I mentioned, you'll see in an upcoming episode. So just keep that in mind that you might want to book yourself a upgraded hotel because it can take up to 24 hours to receive your results, and you do need to self-quarantine, but they are trying to get test results out very quickly. So now let's talk about the Morchana app. So you will also need to download, before you arrive into Thailand, the Morchana app. And this app actually is supposed to somewhat trace your steps while you're traveling within Thailand for contact tracing purposes. Now, if I'm going to be totally honest, I didn't really see this app too much in play. We visited several different restaurants, many hotels, airlines, etc., and not many places actually asked to see our Morchana app, which actually in a way kind of defeated the purpose to me of the application itself. So I'm really not sure on if others have had different experiences. From what our Thai guide was saying, it was more in use in the past, but it seems like in March while I visited Thailand that it wasn't really being used very often. When you first arrive, you will need to scan your Thailand Pass QR code into the Morchana app and also update your profile details. I will say that my QR code, the details were a little bit incorrect, so I did need to edit them. My last name was coming up as my first name, so obviously I needed to change that. But you are able to edit before you confirm your details. So just make sure that everything looks correct before you confirm your details within the app. So I had the app downloaded before I arrived into Thailand. You cannot actually activate your Thailand Pass within the app until you actually are in Thailand. It will give you an error message. So if you're trying to do it before you arrive in Thailand, it's not going to work because your Thailand Pass has not been activated by the Health Authority of Thailand when you first arrive. So it will only work when you actually have entered Thailand, and I did mine while I was at the check-in area for the Racha, which I'm really excited to show you guys what that hotel is all about. So once we had the Morchana app activated, we were able to, the hotel did scan us in, so to speak. And then typically what happens is once the hotel has received your negative PCR result, they will go ahead and update the Morchana app, and then you will turn green that you are low risk. So we were traveling with a Thai guide, and we were somewhat fast-tracked, which was really nice. So as soon as we did receive our results that evening at around 6:30, we did send our results to her, which in turn she was able to send it to the hotel, and then they were able to update the Morchana app. So that we could actually leave our room quicker, because typically the hotels will receive your PCR results around midnight or afterwards. So quick tip there is, if you do receive your results quicker, just make sure to grab the business card downstairs of the front desk and send an email to the front desk with your test results so that they can upload it to the Morchana app for you. And just call the front desk once you send it to them so that they can get it, so they know the email is there. So other places where we were asked for our Thailand Pass was actually when we arrived onto Koh Samui from Bangkok. So we went from Chiang Mai, we connected through Bangkok and arrived into Koh Samui. Koh Samui has changed their own requirements, so you no longer need their own Koh Samui pass. Their health pass. So the Thailand Pass now works on arrival in Koh Samui. So we did have to show the Thailand Pass. I did travel with obviously a printed copy and then a copy on my phone. Whenever someone wanted it, I was able, because I had it in my favorites on my phone, I was able to quickly access my Thailand Pass and show it on my phone, and that seemed to work fine in a lot of areas. But really, there wasn't many spots that we really needed to show our Thailand Pass or our Morchana, which I'm not sure if they are phasing that out at this time. But I just wanted you to have all the information on what was required during my travel to Thailand at the beginning of March. Again, I arrived into Thailand on March 3rd, and I departed Thailand on March 17th. And again, things are already changing as of April 1st. So my recommendation to you is double check the Thailand Pass information regularly for when you're traveling, and then also it's going to depend on the country that you are traveling from and where you hold your passport. So I really hope that this video was helpful to you. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. And also be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because this is now the start of my Thailand series. There are a lot of videos coming up. So I obviously traveled with Singapore Airlines to Singapore, stayed in a transit hotel there, so I am going to show you what that journey looked like. Also, I did it in premium economy, so my next video is actually going to be a review of Singapore Airlines premium economy from Vancouver to Singapore, so stay tuned to that. And then we visited Phuket, then we went to Chiang Mai, Koh Samui, back to Phuket. So there is a lot of content coming up, and I'm so excited to share my experiences with you all. So definitely make sure that you're subscribed. It is free to do so, and hit that bell button, because then you will be notified when I post a new video. So thank you again so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!